Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Web Show. Real quick, unfortunately, when we were recording the episode that we had planned for today, not a lot of things went right. During the episode, at some point, my camera shut off, which isn't that big of a deal. We probably could have made it through. But then at the end of the episode, we realized that our audio recording also never began. And so we were down a camera. We were down our actual microphones, and the only thing we were left with was the sound that was being recorded on the middle camera and on my phone, actually, because I do that as a background or as a backup. What I decided after reviewing the footage and checking that out is that I'm just not comfortable with putting out that low of quality, especially for our audio listeners. I just feel like it would be a disservice. And so Topaz and I have agreed that we're going to get back together on our next recording time, and we're going to have a great conversation about the PlayStation and the Project Q and some rumors around that, as well as some new things that have come out since we were potentially recorded that episode. So it's still going to be a great conversation. It's just going to be a week delayed, but we have a lot of fun things planned for you. In the meantime, today you're going to be listening to a conversation that I had back in season 2, almost 2 years ago, with Aki from Aki and Peach, which is now Aki and Fam. They rebranded, and Jate from Jate Live. You can find both of those guys over on Twitch. They're absolutely incredible, and there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to absolutely love the conversations that we have here, the wisdom that they share. I was still very young and had 1,000,001 more things to learn. I still have 1,000,000. I've really only learned one of them since then. So these guys were really, really inspirational to me, and really glad that we were able to sit down and have this conversation that you guys are about to listen to now. Thank you so much for your patience, and looking forward to seeing you guys in regular new content beginning next Monday. But until then, I know you'll enjoy this conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Web Show, Season 2, Episode 10, which is kind of crazy to think that we've actually been just talking that much. I'm Webby Pumpkin, your host, and I'm joined by two amazing guys today, Aki and Peach, or just Aki, technically, and Jate. Today we're going to be talking about what it's like to, or kind of how it feels and what it's like to attain your aspirations, all while preventing yourself from compromising your convictions. It's something that is kind of near and dear to my heart, because for the many of you, you know my story and like where it started, and then Mixer kind of going away and starting over, and a lot of discouragement there, a lot of discouragement on just kind of trying to figure out what all this looks like. And this is something that I've really struggled with, because it seems like there's an easier path, or there's another path to get that end result, if you will, that we really desire as content creators, as far as it pertains to the creation of content. Obviously, there's bigger goals, but it's kind of hard to maybe do that whenever we want to share our faith or our convictions or our morals inside of our streams, inside of our communities, to build that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, but I want to give a second for these guys to introduce themselves. Let's kick it off with you, Aki. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, hey everybody. My name is Aki. I am married to a wonderful woman named Mama Peach, who's a regular on my streams. And obviously the other half is actually Peach, who is my daughter. She's my 10-year-old daughter. And we have a wonderful time together. I have another child. His name, we call him Baby Aki. He's my son. He's 3 years old. He's a hoot. He's a wild kid, but we have a lot of fun together on streams. By day, I am a network engineer. I work for a cable ISP. Would love to do content creation full-time someday, maybe, but for right now, you got to do what pays the bills and keeps the roof over your head, And for hobbies, I ride motorcycle. Actually live in Sturgis, which is where the home of the largest motorcycle rally. And I have a side-by-side Kawasaki Teryx. It's a 4-seater, and we put the whole family in it. We go out on the trails and love to get out and see the outdoors occasionally, and try to disconnect from the screens occasionally, but we also love obviously playing video games and connecting with our community and spending time with my kids.
Awesome. So I would not have talked you up to a biker. I'm
not
really
a lot of
excited
people
about that.
do, actually. I think that's kind of one of those things that throws people for a loop. And it's not like like a sport bike guy or anything. I got a big old 1600 Kawasaki Mean Street Cruiser. Like it's a beast of a bike, and we have I love it. I
I
love it.
got
I've ridden
my
ever since I was a kid.
I got my motorcycle endorsement on a very powerful and masculine 150 cc Tao Tao moped. It was awesome. I
Absolutely
was
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, I
I
was
got
really
my motorcycle endorsement on a scooter.
woo.
So
Okay,
yeah,
I had a
yeah.
Razor scooter
There you go.
bike.
that
Mine
totally
was
counts.
it was a Honda scooter, so at least had like, but it was literally just had one gear, and you just kind of push the pedal down, and you go and you do your thing. So
I eventually upgraded to a Yamaha 650 V Star Classic Dovetail. I wrecked it. That poor baby
Oh.
is no longer alive. So
oh no,
I mean, I mean the parts still exist, I guess.
somewhere
Oh,
in some
That's
form.
right. That's right. Some of them are in the road actually. So nah. Well, cool. Jate, tell us a little bit about you, man.
yeah, I'm Jate. I got no kids. I got no wife. But I do have video games. I do like live streaming. I started a thing called Love Clan, which is a community of people. It's a group of gamers who invest in one another, and then there's kind of like a congregation within that. Or the goal is to help gamers find and follow Jesus, and that's that all happened. Like the Discord grew before I ever did live streaming, so that was sort of the pull into live streaming and making content, I guess. And prior to that, I did like motion graphics work for a bunch of big companies: Google, Nike, ESPN, Estee Lauder, Ted Baker, Cleveland Cavs, 76ers, Conor McGregor. Like did a bunch of motion graphics stuff for them, and then um, just started to feel like I was working for money instead of for purpose. So I went into working for a church planting church, and then that kind of turned into whatever it is today. It all came from a bunch of stuff, but yeah, then I live stream like 12 hours a day. So there you go.
Legit.
He's a champion.
For sure. Like how? I made a joke before stream started because I was asking you like, what do you do off stream? And for Jate, it's probably just sleep. So,
Yep.
you know how not because as much
What's
as you
wrong with
stream,
that?
nothing
That's
at
true.
all. Well, guys, I enjoy being in both of your communities and coming in, usually at the end of a raid. So I tend to not be quite as active in chat as I'd like to be, but I really enjoy your community and what you stand for, what you do. I'm a family-friendly streamer, as a lot of our listeners already know. I would consider both of you family-friendly. Aki, not just family-friendly, but family-oriented. Having your kids as part of it's really cool. And then Jate, of course, like everything that you're doing has a purpose beyond just content growth, and it's really, really cool. So that segues us really, really well into kind of this conversation because what inspired this thought when I asked you guys to come on was because I struggled with this, and I've talked to other people who have really struggled with the idea of being able to share their faith or share things that they believe in and convictions that they have, or feeling like they have to compromise those. Like maybe, I really want to be family friendly, but I'd get more views if I played Warzone. Like that's an M-rated game, and I don't want to play an M-rated game. So like, what do I do there, and what are some things there? And I've struggled with that. I've even done Warzone, but turned all the dialogue off so the language would be gone. Like I've tried to find those compromises, and not saying that's the thing to do, but trying to find those things, and it really is something that I've struggled with there. So I wanted to get your perspective because there's almost this viewpoint that if you share your faith, or if you limit the window of games or things that you can talk about because of the content that's in them, then you're honestly hindering your growth. That's a really common belief. But I come to both of your streams, and your content is awesome. Your room, I mean, look at yours right now, Jay. Like your room is very well thought out. Aki has lights that he can control at a click behind him, and both of you have very consistent viewership that's there all the time. Jay, you're live all the time, legitimately all the time, and there's always someone there chatting with you and having a great time. And Aki, I personally have not ever seen your viewer counter under 60. I can't remember a time that I've ever seen that, and it's really inspiring. It's really kind of a blessing, I think, for both of you to see that type of community come around you, especially when Twitch is not like a Christian community. If you There's a lot of different opinions, a lot of different mindsets on there, and the way that you embrace your community and the way you love on them, no matter their background, is really inspiring. So I kind of want to be quiet, let you guys talk about that. So let's just kick it back off with Aki and tell me like how long you've been streaming, where all have you streamed, and kind of what got you started doing that.
Sure. So I actually started streaming. I remember the exact date. It was February 10th, 2020. So be a year and, well, I guess about 4 months roughly ago. Before COVID hit, like before the pandemic. And that wasn't even really necessarily a thought when we were kind of planning everything, because I'd actually been planning and like slowly like purchasing a few pieces of equipment and things like that back in November of the year before, like towards the end of November of 2019. And it all started when I met a guy named Susie Live. I'm sure both of you have heard of him. I read a Kotaku article talking about Twitch and God Squad Church on Twitch and everything. And I found his stream and I kind of tuned in and hung out. And just after a little bit of time of browsing around some Twitch streams, I was like, there isn't really anybody who's like consistently doing this with their kids, or like focusing on like more of a truly like a youth friendly kind of focus. And so that was the idea behind Aki and Peach. Originally, actually, the original name we wanted to go with was we wanted to go with Salt and Light, believe it or not, which is I think amusing in the background, but that name was taken, so we couldn't do that. And so we decided to just kind of brand around the names that we wanted to use online, which was Aki and Peach, and it's worked out. It's worked really, really well. And it kind of keeps that whole family thing where we brought in baby Aki and now Mama Peach. It'll be fun to see him like pick his online moniker someday. And like, I don't know what that's going to be yet, but it'll be interesting as his personality develops to see what he wants to go with. And actually Peach, fun fact, this is a whole different side story. She actually was debating at the time between Princess Peach from Mario, that's where it comes from, or Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. Like she loves the How to Train Your Dragon series and all that. And I kind of maybe gently nudged her. I was like, if we're going to be playing video games online, Princess Peach is kind of one of those more widely known, like easier to recognize. I was like, you should go with this. And she went with that. And so it's fine. She loves it. But I really wanted to create a place where people could come with their families and just hang out, have a place to hang out, and truly have a place that would be family friendly. And we've kind of originally it was just we streamed 2 days a week, just twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, and it was just me and my daughter. And we ended up spinning off and adding an Aki After Dark, where we played games for a slightly older, more mature crowd, right? But we always only went to T for teen rating. We never pushed it to the M rating. And that was just for me and for like the brand and content that we wanted to build. We wanted to stay something where everybody could come, regardless of stream, and not have to be concerned so much about maybe having us on speakers or on TVs or whatever else to be able to, truly make it a family experience. That's not to say, kind of to your point, which you were talking about, that is necessarily the right approach for everyone. I think it is important to, if it is not a stumbling block for you to play some of those games to reach those audiences, because if you're not, Jesus didn't come and just sat in the synagogue all day talking to people who already knew the Lord, right? He went out and was with the people. And he lived righteously amongst the people and spoke in parables and taught in different ways. And so I think that that's important to be mindful of when we as Christians approach content creation. There's different approaches that are going to reach different people. So, but anyway, I'll stop there.
That's really good. Jate, do you want to tell us? You kind of already went into like how this got started, but do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just go through the same process. Like I started on Mixer and did some stuff there, but I was mostly in other people's communities and just watching. And I did some things, but I wasn't very active in it. And awkwardly, I actually set up my camera in this direction with the TV and all like some of the stuff here, not all of it, but I set it all up for stream to Mixer. And the day that I went to go live on Mixer, the day I set all this up, was the same day that I got the tweet that they were going to close it in 3 months.
Oh my
And so I
goodness.
was like the timing, actually, I wouldn't have gone on Twitch at all if it had been a day or two different. If I'd gotten the notification Mixer was dying, I wouldn't have gone to the trouble of setting up my stuff for stream. I would have just been like, that's it. There's no reason for me to even be doing this then. And if it had been any later, then I would have just probably, I like wouldn't have thought, let's go for Twitch. But I was like, I'm not going to do all this work for nothing. Like, and so I might as well just I'm just gonna go on Twitch then, because I already had an account. I'd streamed on Twitch in the past, Destiny 1. I streamed the beta of Destiny 1, and then I
Awesome.
didn't play the actual game like on stream. I just the beta because I had a niche during that time, and then all the big names took it, and it was like, well, then it's so. I've been streaming on Twitch for 11 months. It's almost a year now. That's like my actual start date of like when I started over. You know, there wasn't anybody there, and um, that my thought is it's a little different from Maki, but it's not totally different. So I am family friendly streamer, but the way that I look at it as that myself am family friendly, and the games that I play may not be family friendly, and the people I play with may not be family friendly. And so it's kind of the same idea of reaching people, being of the in the world, not of the world, and so I try to play games during my regular hours, the majority hours, which I tentatively put at like from 4 to 9, or something like that. It's where the majority of people that can be awake during that time, at least in America. I put that as like I'm trying to put that mostly family friendly. And then after that time, I'm very vocal and I'll say, hey, this game is not going to probably be family friendly. And if that's something that you can't be a part of, and there are people that have to mute the stream during that time, um, then that's okay. And like I've just come to terms with that. But yeah, the reality for me is when I'm thinking on stream, my biggest goal is not to reach Christians. It is to reach non-Christians. That is actually my goal while streaming. So I stream with the intent of knowing that the average age of a gamer is in the 30s, and so I am thinking this is probably the best way gaming as a whole is, in my opinion, one of the easiest and most effective ways to reach a 35-year-old gamer, or to reach a 35-year-old non-Christian. Like, there's just not a lot of ways. Kids have kid camp they can go to. If their parents are teaching them, that's something that they can go to. And I like that that's a thing. And I grew up in a church. But like a 35-year-old, if I didn't grow up in a church, I don't know at 30 how I ever would get to that stage. And so I actually really often think about like how are we reaching that generation. And as my generation, Gen Z, well, me, millennial, starts to like get into that age, I'm like, are they just gone? Because it's not being reached by boomers. So like, how do those people ever get a chance to know Jesus? And that, I think, is why gaming for me has just been so pivotal in that mindset. But yeah, that's
Wow. That's
my
really
thought.
good. I actually I got started for different motives. Interesting. So I'll share a little bit of that, but I'm gonna try not to talk too much. I started on Mixer because I felt like it was the safer, more family friendly platform than Twitch, and then it said bye. So I said so. Which I actually did try Facebook gaming for a little while, but I don't feel like the infrastructure is there yet. So Twitch, Aki actually was one of the first people on Twitch to like show me love. Came in with a raid. All the Warriors of Light just came around me. It was super cool. But I actually started because I got into Fortnite. Like, no judgment. Got into Fortnite and I was playing it a lot with friends, and it was an opportunity because I moved away for college, got married, and didn't go back. And so all like my closest friends and everything were like the closest ones are 2 hours away. And so I don't see them very much. Well, they got into Fortnite as well. So much so that we ended up buying 2 Xboxes so my wife could play it as well. Because at the time they didn't have split screen, and I was doing that every night. Like after work, I'm just streaming and playing with them. And I started noticing because I wasn't really a stream consumer, but I started to get more into video games. And one thing that I started noticing a lot is a lot of like my colleagues and other adults around me, especially that I worked with, didn't really want their kids to play Fortnite, even though like that's like probably the mildest shoot. But I didn't really want to
Sure.
do that, and it wasn't necessarily because the game is so bad. It's because the communities around it, like the things people would say to each other,
Mm.
like were awful. So I was like, well, I'm playing it anyway. I'll set out to start streaming on Mixer, and I will. My goal will be to just make content that families or parents are not like panicking because they like feel like they have to watch the TV the entire time to make sure that nothing like something crazy is not going to come up with their kids. So the biggest like achievement that felt like to me was I have a friend named Ben who he told me that if there was a Michael Jordan or a Superman for his son, it was me. I was like, hush up with that, because he'll just
Wow.
turn it on and he's watching like Zelda, or he's watching like whatever I'm playing. He loves Minecraft right now, but he'll watch that. And Ben was like, I hear your voice and I know that like nothing crazy is going to happen. He's not going to hear anything that I'm going to be worried about or have to answer questions about right now, because I'm not ready for that. What that means for me is on Mixer, I estimate, there's no way to really know, but I'm estimating that my median viewership was probably like age 9. I know that's way too young to be on Mixer officially, but that's what it seemed to be. And that's gone up since moving to Twitch. What I can kind of infer right now is that my median age is probably 14 years. So totally not here for the 30-year-olds. I love the 30-year-olds, but I'm totally here for the 30-year-olds kids. Like I'm here for them to be like, all right, I don't have to worry about it. And I have to remind myself of that whenever my numbers aren't growing, or like Twitch is never going to be something probably that is like a income wise as a job for me, because kids don't have computers like that. I mean, they do, and they don't have jobs, so they don't have money, so they're not giving donations. And so I think I'll always be in that lower percentile of followage, but that's not the number that matters the most to me. It's viewers. Like, so I don't really care if you're following or if you're donating, if you're watching, and this is actually something that's worthwhile for you. However, hard to not look at that number. So I'm gonna be quiet, because that's kind of what leads me to this, because I know that I would make a little bit of money. It's not about the money, but would make a little bit of money if I played like something else. You know what I mean? That maybe an adult would watch, so that does have money. We'll move forward though. So, what role is your belief in God or other morals taking in your streaming career? We've kind of already touched on that a little bit. So, I'm also going to add in like why you feel like that's important. You obviously, definitely, Jate. That's the whole purpose of this. But Aki, I've been in your streams. You're obviously very open with your faith. You let everybody know. Like, my favorite thing that you say that I kind of molded and adopted a little bit is when someone comes in your stream and you're like, hey, no matter your beliefs or your background, we personally believe in the redemptive power of Jesus Christ here, but we love you and you're welcome here, and we want to have a good time with you. That just type of thing. I love that. I love that, because that's like, this is what we believe. This sets the standard, but also like, I don't want you to leave. Like, you're important to me. So anyway, I'll let you kick that off a little bit. But what does that mean for you?
Sure. Well, so it's an interesting, and it's kind of a tricky question in and of itself, right? Like you want to tie into some of what Jate said, right? You want to appeal to the people who are non-believers, right? And so it would be super easy to just kind of do whatever and talk however and be however, and then just all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a Christian. And then it's like, what kind of witness is that, right? And so I love Jade's approach of being family friendly while being out there in the unfamily friendly communities, because like I said, you've got to be Jesus to those people, and different people take different approaches and tacks to that. And I feel like for me personally, something I say occasionally on stream as I talk about how like the joy that I have, and like the reason I'm able to have such a good time and just really enjoy bonding and talking with people is because of the joy that overflows out of my heart because of, Christ in me. And that is what it is. And so it presents an interesting dichotomy sometimes when you're having some of these more difficult conversations. And like for me and my wife specifically has really struggled with a lot of mental health issues in regards to anxiety and depression. And so really open and honest about those conversations and those topics, especially on the Aki After Dark nights, when we really dive into, hey, you know what? Life sucks sometimes. It is tough. You're not meant to do life alone. And regardless of, I adopt, it's from Pastor Deucin, actually, originally, where I say, well, regardless of where you're from, what your background is, you don't have to believe to belong, is what he says. And I love that phrase. And I think it's important. And it allows us to interact with folks and just truly try to be a blessing to them and share with them the love of Jesus without punching them in the face with it, because that turns people off. And this could be a whole side tangent. We could have a whole separate conversation, but there are definitely elements within the Twitch and Twitter Christian communities that think maybe you should be a little bit more vocal than we are necessarily with our faith. So, yeah. Did you empty that box? This is the family right here is crashing the stream.
I
It's all
love
gone. We
that.
should throw that in the trash probably.
Same time my cat also crashed.
Yeah. See?
Well,
But I'll let Jate speak to that a little bit.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what was the question?
So essentially, like, and you've touched on it really heavily already. I think, Jake, but it's this idea of like, what are your beliefs in God and your morals and everything because of Him? Like, how does that affect your streaming career? And why do you think that's an important part of your stream? Which you kind of already answered in the sense because that's the whole reason for your stream.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
elaborate any more that you'd like on it.
Yeah. I think for me, a lot of it is I would like to just be like I didn't really plan. I didn't even really plan to stream. Like things just kind of like started to happen, and then there was people here, and it's like, oh, cool. Like I might as well keep streaming. But we were doing Bible discussions on Discord first. And like I said, Discord is like we grew that before we did anything on Twitch. And um when a lot of things kind of lined up. And one of the main things is there was a friend of mine who said, I can't dedicate that much time to something I don't believe in. Luckily, this is somebody that I have a good relationship with that I know personally. I've played games with them for a long time. But he's like willing to be honest enough with me to tell me some of these things. And I can't dedicate that much time. And so it's kind of like, okay, cool. Then we're already playing games. Like I would stream a game to Discord and just we would watch it, you know. I might as well do it to Twitch. And then when I'm doing my Bible discussion, I might as well just do it while playing a game. And then you can just watch that. And like if you know, if you wanted to do something else at the same time, you can do that. But like if that's the person that I'm trying to reach is somebody who I say this every time, but our Bible discussions are specifically for people that have never read the Bible before. And there are some people that want to come in and be like theologically over everybody and whatever. And I say, hey, you might get nothing out of this. And sorry, but that's not the objective. It's not to, we read the message version. You're not, sorry, like, it
You're not the
translates.
target audience.
Yeah, you're not the target audience. And that's fine. Like that should be okay. At the same time, it's a huge discipleship opportunity. Like I disciple by example. So if people are coming in, I'm going to message them privately and say, "Hey, I love that you're Christian. You can come to this thing, but I want you to like watch how we're reaching people that who otherwise would never step foot in a church. And that is the goal. Like I want to reach that person. And so what you can get out of it can be this is an opportunity you could be using to also do the same thing. And there's a lot of people that just want to like harp on certain verses and be like, if you have heard a verse 1,000 times, have you shared it 1,000 times? There's just like little things that are just watch and see how we're doing it and see how we can reach people who otherwise wouldn't be. But throughout the rest of the week, I mean, every time I'm rated, I tell people this and I tell them my story. I use it as an opportunity to share my story. I have it down to like a 60-second if I need to. Um, it's it's important for me to tell people that there is an opportunity for them if they're interested. And even our wording is important. We say Bible discussion. I don't say Bible study because if I can't replace the word, if I can't replace the word, so we say if I can't replace Bible with science, and I can't replace church with synagogue, so or even mosque. So here's what that looks like. If I say, "Do you want to come to a science study?" No, I haven't studied science. That's just weird. I don't even know what you're talking about. Science study. Now, if I say come to a science discussion, it's like, well, I mean, yeah, and I tell you, like, it's pretty open book. It's not like any of us are geniuses. We're just having an open discussion about this stuff and like seeing if there's anything that's applicable to us or not. And like, if you have something to say, then go ahead and add it. But if not, then it's just you can get some information and like you'll have an understanding for people that feel like that. And my brain changes in the way that I'm seeing it because I'm seeing it from an outside perspective. Instead of saying like words that we just don't realize are very Christianese. And the same thing happens with like church. We think about like the things that would get us to go to a church. And we think that like if I and that is easy for us if we go to a church. But if we think about it from the side of another perspective, if what would it take for you to go to a mosque? Like if I told you, "Hey, come to our mosque. Like we have donuts in the front and like it's cool. We
Everybody
have
loves donuts.
Maybe,
Well, most people love
like
donuts.
And so we do that, but like we think that's the thing. Now that might keep somebody from going to a different mosque, but it's not going to keep them, it's not going to bring them into your mosque. Now, if you had a friend that said, "Hey, I know it's going to be kind of weird. I want you to come with me to a mosque. It's important to me." And I I know it's going to be weird. There's a part where we all stand up at the beginning and then they're going to say something and then you sit back down and there's music and like here's how it's going to happen. I'm not expecting anything out of you from this. I'm not saying you're going to convert or whatever, but I want to show you like what is important to me and why it's important, and like it'll help explain some of the stuff that I've talked about in a better, like, okay, then I would go try your mosque, but like I need that person to like do that for me, and I don't need the donuts. And so that's kind of my thought is I just really do think through some of these things. Like, what can I say that's actually going to help somebody take a step forward towards Jesus? And that's why we do like our Thankful Thursday. We go A through Z through the alphabet and we write down the things that we're thankful for. Apples and bananas, and we just like write all these things down. It's a big long list, and the way I pray through that list, and I go like, God, we take a ton of things for granted. I'm gonna go A through Z and just say all these things that we just wrote down that we're really thankful for, and that's my prayer. Is I'm thankful for all these things, and like Amen. And it just gives people an opportunity to like to not feel like they have to whatever prayer is, but just to be thankful, and that's relatable universally. Same things with like you're saying, belonging is a universal thing that people want. And so we there are things that we need to get into, and we get into that in the Bible discussion. But for the most part, I like my favorite, and I tell people this every time we're rated, my favorite thing is to pray for people. If you need prayer for any reason, or if you know somebody who needs prayer, then please let them know, because like that's my favorite thing to do on stream. And it's not weird because it's my favorite thing to do. And that's, people are here for the personality. They're here for you. And so when you're being honest with people, then that lets them know. But
That's a
that's
really powerful element, that part right there, that ending bit is people are there for you. They are there for genuine connection, not just for platitudes.
That's really good. That's really so. Talked before stream started about like our Enneagram numbers, and I'm an Enneagram 3, so mine's all about like the performance and success and what is this idea of success. And there's always another rung on the ladder, like it's go and go and go. And it's absolutely right. I love what you're doing there, also, Jate, with like the way that you pray through the like your thankful list, and it's just that simple and everything. Because I think that I like this idea, and it's not mine. It's a gosh, I can't remember his name. There's another pastor that actually shared this thought, and he's not my pastor, but it was this idea of pray what you got. Like it's not this
right.
like this idea of like, oh, I have to know the right words, or I have to be. I mean, I do believe Jesus gave us an example of how to pray, but it's not that I'm praying this checklist, or this is how I have to pray. This is the form of prayer. It's some days like I get up and I got, hey God, I'm really tired, and you're good, and the day seems like it's not going to be, but I know that you are, and I'm gonna rest in that, and that's it. And sometimes it's not even that crazy. Sometimes it's literally like I'm just gonna have a conversation in a car ride, and it's like you're not the all powerful like creator of the universe. It's like I'm really kind of whiny, and you're my best bud in the car, like in the seat next to me, and you're getting to hear all about like that thing that my wife did that frustrated me, or that crazy thing that's happening on stream, because I'm a big believer in like talking to God about like things that I care about, and I care about my stream. So
100%.
that type of thing.
Like
So
Psalms.
I love that.
I mean,
That's right.
Yeah.
that's the balance of Psalms. I like praying through Psalms. Like sometimes I'll just open Psalms if I don't know what else to pray, and I'll just read a line from Psalms, and I'll be like, me, like, enemies, you just replace. He's talking about actual people coming to kill him, and I'm like, trolls, like just replace certain things in here, and you're like, yeah, that's happening, and it's real.
Wow. Well, if I can like pivot us, I'm going to combine some questions like moving forward, for the sake of our time. But I want to hear about some times, I guess, where your faith has caused some trouble or some drama in your stream, because that's got to be something that's happened. And you shared about your friend that's like, I don't have enough time to dedicate to something I don't believe. There's a guy that I've known since I was on Mixer. Love the dude. He's really kind. He doesn't believe in God, or any really higher power or anything like that. He's experienced some loss and some hurt and some things that have happened, and then things that have happened that to his like family and everything that really I don't have any explanation for aside from the fact that our world is broken and we're living in it. And that's just how it is, and it's gonna remain that way because we kind of messed it up. I mean, not us, not Webby, not Jate, not Aki, but I'm no less guilty of messing things up. And unfortunately, that's how it is. Sometimes, right now I'm reading through the book of Job, and something that stood out to me this time through that never stood out to me before, like just growing up in church, is like all these bad things happen to Job, and Job never knows why. He never gets an answer as to why that is. And so anyway, so I don't have an answer for him, but he messaged me. He whispered me on Twitch because I started trying to be even more vocal about my faith and everything. I do want this to in my stream. I talk about pumpkin positivity and Webby love, and what that looks like is I believe that there's a such thing as loaned and borrowed faith. Like maybe you're having a bad day and things are going on and you're broken and you just got a diagnosis that is kind of feels like a little bit more than you can shoulder. I believe in this idea of bearing each other's burdens in love. That's not my words. That's the Bible. But how I call that, or what I call that in the stream to de-churchify it a little bit, is borrowed positivity. Like if I've got a little extra and I'm doing pretty good, I'm on churchy terms, but I'm on a heel, like things are good right now, then I've got a little I can lend out and encouraging people that are feeling a little broken. Like we don't have to get into like a therapy session. I don't want you to feel worried about that. But if you feel like you need to say, "Hey, I've had a pretty crummy day and things are going kind of tough. I'll pray for you on the stream." I took that from you, Jade. I added that as a channel point because I loved that idea. I'll pray for you on that stream there, and it's really grown a core group of community. And I think that's what we use community as a term for our viewership or for our. I hate the word fans. I don't like that, but like for the people that watch us on Twitch. I think community is beyond just the title for the group of people, but we're not really community until we start acting like a community, coming together, and there's some unifying there. But I got this whispered from this dude, and he's been with me for probably 6 to 8 months now. Just consistent, awesome dude. Regularly shows up, donates, gives bits. Like he's invested in the community. And he was like, "Hey man, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not like very religious or anything. So if the religious stuff like keeps kind of being a part of it, I'm probably not gonna be able to." That's the type of stuff that I want to talk about. Like what happens when the camera's off, because I got that at the end of stream was when I checked my whisper, and it was a good stream, and and I had every reason to be really encouraged by the night. And I went into the other room because I streamed kind of late, and I got my toothbrush and I was ready to brush my teeth, and I'm checking messages and I'm doing like the teeth brushing thing and everything, and it was like complete like wrecked that like encouragement. So like right there. So that can't be alone in that, and be as vulnerable or as not vulnerable as you guys want. We're gonna swing it the opposite direction. Let's go Jate first. But
I like it.
What does that mean for you guys? Like, how's that happened?
Yeah. Well, I would, just because I'm going to speak to, since it's hot in my mind right now, like your situation specifically, to that kind of situation, I think I personally would respond and say that that is hurtful because it is a part of me. I mean, it's and it's disappointing because I would not limit the amount of love or encouragement, whatever that looks like. My level of friendship with a person is not limited on if they're a Christian or not. So when I get that from somebody else who's not a Christian, and they're saying, "Sorry, I can't be a part of who you are. I want you to not be that way for me to be your friend," that's just hurtful. And I would probably be very specific and honest with that, because he's being specific and honest with you. I can't be a part of somebody that's this way. And so I would just return the favor and be like, "Hey, just so you know, I would never treat you that way. Not that you're meaning to, but you realize that you want me to be honest with you, right? And that you want me to be as specific as possible. And so I'm not going to put on a fake mask of who I'm not, to please the person that you want me to be." And I fully understand if you need to go find somebody else, there's a million other streamers. But as far as like, even if you don't have to watch my content, I still want to be friends with you. Like that's not gonna leave just because we're not doing this anymore. Too late. Like we're already friends now, and so that's not gonna go away if you can't watch my stream anymore. But can we play games off stream? Now I don't have that benefit because I stream so much that like I'm everything I do is on the stream, and I think that does work to my benefit because people know if I'm having a bad day, like sorry, you get that, and like if I there is no like energy for an hour and a half and then I just turn it off. Like there is none of that. And the downtime is like it just doesn't exist. I mean, I am like actually on the face at all times. And I think that is a benefit for me because people know there's no faking it because there's never time I'm not there. So it's always on. And like whatever I'm saying is like the thoughts that just come up right at the time. And but that is like the stuff I would say to that. And I'll tailor that into a point that's like my personal time since that's what we're kind of asking. The very first stream, actually very first week, I don't think it was the first stream, but my first week stream in here on Twitch, streaming to no viewers, somebody rated me for 7 viewers. I don't know the guy. And most people I'd ever had in my stream was like, oh my gosh, 7 people, this is crazy, which we've all over that now. And the only thing that I put in my stream was my story. Like I kind of thought it out a little bit and I typed it out and I put it in underneath my stream. It's the only thing that was there, no graphics or anything. And somebody in that person's raid read my story and said, hey, don't normally do this, but like actually my grandma's dealing with something like pretty bad. I think it was cancer. Like was it, and I'm not a super religious person or whatever, but like would you pray for her? I didn't have a prayer redemption at the time. I didn't think out any channel points or whatever. And I was like, yeah, like let me pause what I'm doing. That's really important. Let's pray for this person. Prayed for the person, looked at my viewer count after that, and it was 3. So like everybody pretty much had left. And I remember thinking I should not pray on stream. Because if I pray on stream, I'm isolating. I had good reasons. I am isolating non-Christians because those people who don't like prayer, they're going to leave and then I'm not going to have an opportunity to like share. And like my reasons were good, but I realized that my it sounded good. It sounded good, but it wasn't. Like my reasons for it sounded really nice, but they just were not. Like it was that person that actually needed prayer was so much more important than the 7 lurkers or whatever that was there. And I needed to let that person know. So from that week on, that's why I've never had the view count on. I never know how many people are in my stream. I haven't had the view count on from the first week. I can see the number of Pokemon or whatever at the bottom and get a rough idea. Or if like somebody raids me for 70 people, I see the number 70. So I know there's a lot of people there, at least for a second until they all leave. But like that's it. Like I don't know how many people are there. And I focus on chat. Even when I look at my like viewer count, it's low. Like it's not a great average because I stream really late and I stream for people in Japan. Like that I go for those people. So I go for chat messages. I know that in the last 11 months, I have had 200,000 chat messages. I know it was from 2,000 specific people, and like, and the other number is I'm looking at replicating. Like it's more important for me that there would be 10 streamers with 10 people in their chats than having 100 in my stream. Because in the long run, the replication is that grows exponentially. So it can't end with me because we can only have so many people in my chat. And once it hits 100, I'm not going to be able to keep up with them. So I need other people to be streaming. And so I think about that. Like there's 2 people from Love Clan that have now started streaming that are doing Bible discussions weekly. And that's more important to me. But so that, I don't know. That's like, just put a cap on that because again, we're going to be way out of time if we keep going further than this.
That's all really good stuff.
Yeah, no, I love everything that he said, and I think I'll take the other tack of that, and I will say that the issues where faith has maybe caused trouble or drama in my community is there was a specific instance I can think of where there was another content creator that was going through a situation, and I stood up for him. It was actually on social media, which is kind of tied into all of our communities and everything, right? And it caused a stir with other Christians. And so there are elements within Twitch and Twitter of other Christian content creators that are very particular. If you're not following certain very specific things or steps, they feel like you're gonna maybe cause more problems than you solve. And so maybe sometimes I'm a pot stirrer, and that's okay. Because I think and to Jade's point, it takes, like I said, all types to reach all types. There are different types of people out there that need different types of love and respect and acceptance. And it is difficult. No one person's going to reach everybody. Right. And to Jade's point about there being 10 streamers with 10 viewers that can grow and scale so much better. And there are those people who would need to reach those people, but the drama and the issues that created, it was a headache, and it caused a lot of introspection and kind of struggle internally. It's like, man, am I doing something wrong? Like, should I not have said anything? And I think back to, again, Jesus saying, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And we are so often so quick to judge and to accuse other people or put people in categories that are unhealthy. And I think it would behoove us to just be kinder to everyone, whether they're Christian or not. If they're in our chat, if they're in our communities, if we come across them, you don't know what that person is going through. You don't know their story. And it is important. I think kindness should always be our first instinct. And sometimes that causes problems for people, So it's definitely a challenge. It's funny to talk about Christians being drama causers, but I think we all can agree and know that sometimes Christians can be the biggest drama causers, unfortunately. So even more so than unbelieving trolls that come into our chat. So
I love that
it
you went
happened
that
in
direction.
Jesus' time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you think about the people that Jesus had to be the hardest against, and the people that came the hardest against Jesus. And it's like, it shouldn't really surprise us, but like, it still is like, seriously? Like, this is what we're going to have to deal with?
We're all on the same
it's like-
team, guys.
Exactly.
Come on.
Right? Yeah.
Like, for
Woo.
real. Like, friendly fire.
Yeah.
But no, I love that you took that approach, because I wasn't even thinking that when I formed that question. I was thinking, like, are these people that are not Christians or you don't possess like the same faith or viewpoint that I do, and they don't want to watch and they're not connected. But you're so right, because like that's what I feel like will happen. Like right now, I've been doing a little bit. I've been pushing the limits a little bit into like a I guess this is technically a rated game. It's a T-rated game. I don't really know. It's Final Fantasy VII remake. I've never played it.
It's T for teen. It's edgy, but it is T for teen. Yep.
But it is edgy. That is a good word for it.
It is
because
edgy.
I was very surprised at the amount of language that is in that game.
Yeah. Barrett kisses his mama with that mouth. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. it's yes. And so with all that going on, I've already heard like there's a lot of language in this game where you like, and I'm like, like
it's not. No, and I played it on stream too, and we had open and honest discussions about the content in the game. I'm like, guys, I know this pushes the limit, but it is what it is. So
yeah, I was very surprised. I was so hopeful too that
they even made Aerith cuss. I was not happy about that. I was just like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was very disappointed that there's also not a content filter built into it, because even Gears of War has a content filter. Like, but nope, Square Enix didn't give us that, and I don't think they're going to. Doesn't look like they're going to.
Nope.
Maybe you can mod it later on PC, but yeah. Well, guys, that is the type of like real conversation that I'm really wanting to have. So like, because obviously those are, like Jate said it like this, like those are the things that are hurtful, and no doubt like that's hurtful when you have what you feel like is your team, like we're the Christians, like we take on that mantle. You would think like we go crazy for our sports teams, we go crazy for our nations and everything, and like this is legitimately the biggest life and death thing possible, and we sure bicker a lot. Like it's very common. We can't agree on things. So yeah, it makes complete sense that we would see that, and we should expect that type of resistance. Other people of faith as well that maybe don't agree with how we're doing. My answer to that though is like not to like turn it on them, but like I appreciate the fact that you guys are doing something. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure Jake, you'll get plenty of like, oh, Twitch isn't real ministry. You need to be in a church or whatever the case is. But like you're reaching people in Japan, and how cool is it that you're always on the mission field? Like there's always something that's going on. You're doing it from your chair, and I absolutely love your stream, Aki, because I feel like it does something for like, so we're each in a different spot of life right now. Like Jay, unmarried, no kid; married, no kid; married with kids. So like we have an interesting perspective there. It gives me something to like lean forward though, as to like what's this going to be like when we do have kids, and what kind of opportunities are there to allow this to be something that nurtures them. So I look to you a lot with that. No pressure. I look to you a lot with that because I feel like that's what you're doing, and I think you're doing it well. Because I get from
Thank
my
you.
family all the time, like, you're not going to be able to stream once the babies come and everything. Like, how are you going to do that? And I'm like, I don't want to cause a confrontation, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, Aki doesn't him. So that
Just
type of
saying.
thing.
It's possible.
It's
Now,
possible.
word of advice: when baby
All right.
first shows up, focus on mama. You focus on mama. You focus on mama. See, that's my one word of advice. Otherwise, I could go on a whole tangent.
That sounds like solid advice. I love that. Well, guys, so obviously, you still stream, resolve the conflict. Conflict is going on. But the whole reason that I really wanted to do this, maybe, even for me, it's kind of like good for me to have the encouragement of friends that are kind of in similar zones where we're putting ourselves on the internet and expecting that everything is going to go well. Well, no, I don't expect that, because it never goes well when you're on the internet. And that's where we are. But there's other people that are down the pipe train. So something that my wife and I do when it comes to like our walk and our faith and everything, it's looking for someone that's ahead of us, beside us, and behind us. It's the idea. So there's someone that's a little further along. So like in this case, very practically, either of you could fit into that spot for me. But like Aki, as we were saying, you've got the kids and you're doing this. So like maybe there is things that I can learn from you, dad wise, streamer wise, husband wise, and a faith wise, moving forward. But it's also finding somebody that's like right next to me, that's like kind of where I'm at, that's doing similar things. What a perfect time for Baby Aki to come on stream while we're talking about.
I know, right?
While we're
You're just
talking,
trotting on in.
but like maybe that person that's beside me, that's like, and I feel like I have that person that's married, similar age to me, no kids. They're trying to figure out like buying a house. Not a great time to buy a house. They're trying to do that right now. We bought ours right before COVID. That seemed like a bad idea. I'm so glad we did it. We almost waited. So glad we did it. And then finding someone that's like not behind, like I don't want that to be taken as they're not as good as me. That's not it at all. It's not a totem, like it's not a pillar. It's a timeline. So it goes this way. So it's not, no one's better than the other. We're just at different spots. That's kind of how I view that.
Someone you can mentor.
Yeah. Oh, I like.
Yeah.
Look at you, Daddy Aki. There we go. No, kidding. With that fatherly wisdom. So with all that being said, like the last thing that I just had on the agenda here was, could you guys share any encouragement for someone that's listening or watching right now that feels kind of like they're trapped, like they're not able to grow and to share their faith and figure out this thing, whether that be for fear of failure or persecution, which we can expect that's going to happen. Or maybe maybe it's for good reasons, like you said, Jate. Like that's awesome. Maybe they have good sounding reasons that maybe don't have enough basis in what is real and reality there, like in what's actually reaching things. So I'll give you guys, I know it kind of hit you there. I'll give you guys a second to think on that, and then we'll keep that reverse circle again. We'll kick it off with Jate. But like, what would you say to someone that's like on Love Clan right now, that's looking to start streaming now, and they're having their first like troll or their first problem, and they're discouraged? Or even to like someone, me, I've been streaming for 2 years. I'll hit my 1 year Twitch anniversary next month. Super excited about that. And so like, even still, like viewer count is decent ish. Follower count is not where I'd like for it to be. Offline content, because I work 3 jobs. So like, when I'm not doing this, I'm working for a church, and when I'm not doing that, I'm working in the oil field. So like trying to like make all that work. So I don't feel like there's ever any time for offline content to make it better. So when these things happen for me, just being vulnerable with you guys, and I feel like people are like quick to want to leave or be like, oh, that's not for me, and they dip out. And I have a really hard time. I've known that I need to turn that viewer count off for a long time, but I have a really hard time doing it. It's very difficult for me. It doesn't aid to my personality, because I'm the person that's like, my reasoning, I have good reasoning. If the viewer count goes down for too long, then it's better for me to end the stream, because it doesn't mess up my average. And because I don't even fully understand how you keep transcoding, but I want transcoding to be a thing, because I know I have a viewer named Angie Jags, which you both already know. Love her. Doesn't have great internet, and so she really needs that transcoding, because she needs to watch us at like 420. And if I'm streaming even 720, I bumped it down to 720 to make it easier for people. I need that, so I want my average to stay better. And I've got all these good reasons, but also the nasty part of me says that it's probably also me kind of wanting to pout because it's not as many. And if I would just keep streaming, they probably would show up because that seems so. Encouragement to people from in my position all the way down to I think I'm going to start streaming tomorrow, like anywhere on that timeline. Okay, I talked a lot. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. I guess I would just to some of the other stuff from earlier, I would just tidbits. The first thing is hurt people hurt people. You know, like if people are coming in and they're trolling, or if they're coming in and they're trying to hurt people, both in the church and outside of the church, people come from a state of being hurt, and so then they hurt other people. I mean, that's just globally true. And so realizing that and trying to get to the heart of like why are you trying to hurt somebody? Obviously, don't say it that way, but that is kind of what you're trying to get to. And then the other thing is like the best and worst thing about the internet is that it's anonymous. And so people, it's great because you can be whoever you want, and it also means that you can be people will be much more open about things right away. You might be close friends with somebody in person and you don't know that they're suffering with depression until 4 years down the line. And we're talking about people that just the first thing that they come into your channel and they're just like, hey, I'm really dealing with depression and I just need somebody to talk to about it. And it's because it's the first thing they're thinking about, and they know that they can just dip out at any point in time and you'll never talk to them again. And so it's great for that reason, and it's also bad because at the same time they can dip out for any reason. Like they can just say whatever they want and leave, and so it is for me the best and worst thing about the internet. Um, as far as like specific viewer average, the reason that I turned it off is because of the reasons that you said you keep it on. Like I don't want to change my content based on the number of viewers. Like I don't want my if I see that number drop, then so does my energy level. Like it is a roller coaster. And the same I mean I cut out caffeine. I haven't had caffeine in like 2 years because what happened to me is like I would drink caffeine in the afternoon and then I'd have a spike of energy and then it would like crash in the afternoon. It's like I don't want that. I just want the same energy the whole way through. And so the same thought goes with the viewer count. If it's just going up and down all the time, I get in the mindset that I'm going to change what I say based on the viewer count. And that's just not helpful to me. If it's one person, I should be focusing on my content being really good and like connecting to that one person in chat. That's more important. And when there's two people in chat, then now my content is like, all right, I'm connecting with both of these people. And yeah, it starts to shift a little bit when there's too many people in chat because I'm like, I can't keep up with everything. And so I have to, I mean, my content doesn't shift based on the viewer number. It's, hey, there's too much for me to read here. So I need you to talk to each other. And like that has to be, that becomes a thing as you get bigger. But like that kind of thinking is very different from I'm gonna change the way that I like and the average thing just doesn't matter. Just honestly, like you're already an affiliate, right?
Yes.
So like yeah, okay. So the number literally does not matter until you hit 75 average. Like it kind of matters where Aki's at because at that stage he's like the 60 something going up to 70, sometimes in the 80s. If you're pushing for partner, then it kind of matters. But like unless you're at that stage, and even then I would say it's just a check mark, so it doesn't really matter except for like the encoding and getting more emotes, which like I mean we both agree like that's a good thing to have, but it does not matter to the point that your mental health matters way more than that.
100%.
And so that the encoding thing doesn't change based on your average. It doesn't. I stream sometimes and I do not get the encoding. Literally what I do, I stop the stream, wait 5 seconds and start the stream again. And then I get encoding. And if it doesn't, then sometimes I turn it off and I turn it back on. And I've done that for Angie. But like sometimes I don't get it. And like, oh well, but you know, like I didn't get it today. There's tomorrow and that's okay. But like, yeah, it's just too mentally taxing for you to continuously look at that number. And the second it becomes a number, it's about the popularity, not the people. And it should just be about the people. I mean, that number means a person. And if they're not in chat, then they're just there to watch you. And like your goal should be to be the kind of person that brings them into your chat and they want to talk to you. And if you're not presenting that, then they'll leave. And okay, they're looking for somebody else, but that shouldn't affect you. That's on them. They're not interested in the person that you are. So be the person that they should want to talk to, you know? And that 1%, just, I know I'm talking a lot, but there's one more thing is 1% better every day is the most effective thing I've seen in this stream. Is not 100% better every day. I watch my streams for like an hour. I just click through it or whatever at the end of every stream, and I find one thing that I could change that would make it just 1% better. And at the beginning, that was really easy because there was like a lot of stuff. And I would say, well, I mean, I could do this and it would fix the audio and that'd be 100% better, you know? But now it's like, okay, I mean, I could add a GIF here. That'd be kind of funny. Or like, I have this idea and I write them down. Like, I have so many of these little like post-it notes that while I'm streaming, I don't have time to do them on the fly. But I mean, yeah. Oh yeah. And
Totally
you
get
just
that.
you just write them down and I mean, I have tons of them. They're like I literally don't know where they all are because there's like 4 more over here. There's a bunch more over here. There's like underneath the desk, and I'll just go find something. If I really can't think of anything to improve, then I just go pick one up and like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. Okay, I can do that real quick. And that's the only thing that I do really outside of stream is I give myself. That's why I stay up late because I'm like in the stream late, and then I like figure out something to fix the stream and to make it a little bit better. But 1% a day, I mean, that compounds and it gets better and better and better. And it's weird now going back and looking at 11 months ago where we were at because it felt like I haven't done a lot since then. But in the long run, it was a lot. But man, people just get started. To the person you were saying that's just like feeling like they're not doing it, good. You're at the beginning. Like you shouldn't be. You're at the starting, and then like let it slowly grow. And it's not this, man, if I did this, it would blow up and my TikTok would explode. It's like just do something small and it'll grow. And like if you keep doing it, it'll get better. But like it won't if you don't start. So you have to get going with it. But all right, that's mine.
Good. Aki, you got anything to
Awesome.
add to that?
Yeah, I just add a couple brief things. Jate touched on a lot of really, really good stuff. Turn your viewer count off. It for me personally, it would affect my mood and my mental state on stream. And if it's affecting you on stream, you're not providing good content for the people that are there, right? So turn the viewer count off. Have a routine. Have a schedule. That's tough for some people.
Really good.
It doesn't work for everybody. But if people can plan to watch you like a TV show, you know, they'll show up. They'll turn out. Having a consistent starting time, even if you don't have a consistent ending time, as long as you have a consistent starting time, people know, okay, I can tune in around this time. You know, this guy's live. Let's go check it out. Helps a ton. And then the last thing I'll say is I am terrible at this. Make content that is discoverable on other platforms because Twitch has terrible discoverability.
It's true.
It's facts.
I don't do that. I
don't do that either. I need to.
I've started doing that.
Yeah.
I've started doing that, but like I don't know. That's actually part
I
of the reason
see it work
like
for other
thing.
Yeah, I see it work for other content creators. So that's the reason I say that.
You're both doing it right
and the
now.
the last thing well, that's true. The last thing that I will say is for Christians who are in content creation, if you are a Christian that is in content creation, let go control of your streams. Give it to God. That is difficult to do for a person like me who loves to be in control. I do. But understanding that I am not the person who is going to lead someone to click on my stream. It is a tugging of the Holy Spirit. It is God working, providing me opportunities to speak into people's lives. And so that has been my prayer lately, is that the Lord will allow me to relinquish control to him and just allow him to take the wheel. It's tough.
Probably said the hardest thing, especially like for me and for you, like you said, like I really a bit of a techie guy, and I like having control over this and everything that's going to happen. And unfortunately, we just don't know. We just don't know everything that's going to happen. We're throwing ourselves out there and waiting to see what happens.
It's funny. I was telling my wife this the other day. I can sit down and I can plan out and I can write a great tweet and put into like great content, pick the perfect game and like all of these things and try to think of the perfect title, and it doesn't hit. But like if I just do something off the cuff, and if it's something I get inspiration, whether it's from the Lord or elsewhere, like
Yep.
it just goes better.
Oh,
So I feel like the less control I have, and the more I just kind of allow the Lord to take over, the better things go.
Yeah.
I love
Somebody
that.
put it as do less for God and do more with God.
That's
And
a
that was
great
like
phrase.
something I've just was like, oh, that's it's good. Like
Genius.
it's true.
I
Yeah.
love that. And then we don't we don't feel like we're having like it's hard because I do work at a church, and like I know Jake, you've worked
Yeah.
at a church, so that's a really hard mindset too, because I feel like my job is things for God, like but yeah, I love that. I love that. Guys, thank you
And
so
don't be
much.
afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. I'll add that. That's just something that
Yeah.
kind of came to. I volunteer at my church, and for over a year now, I sat in the sound booth and I'd run sound and I do slides. Today, I got up on stage and I played drums with the worship team because our worship
Yeah, you
leader asked me
did.
to try it, and I got out of my comfort zone and it went really
Yeah, you
well.
did.
So
Let's go, Aki.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm just saying that applies to content creation too. Don't necessarily just sit in your comfort zone and keep doing the same thing. Don't be afraid to mix it up. If you catch inspiration from somewhere, again, don't be afraid to listen to that small voice. I truly believe that the Lord views Twitch as a platform where we can get out there, we can reach people, we can work for him. And so don't be afraid to listen to the Holy Spirit and just take that inspiration and run with it. So
Yeah.
Guys, if neither of you have anything more to add to that, allow me to thank you so much for coming on. I know I just kind of like sideswiped both of you on Twitter and it's like, hey, you want to do a thing? And both of
100%.
you are like, well, Aki was like, yeah, and Jate was like, maybe. It depends. I stream all the time, don't you know? Like, but no,
I'm
thank
glad
you
we could
guys.
do it today. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for that. And this is part of my goal too, to make offline content. So because the level of this is better than anything that I'll be able to do live, and I'm really believing I'm going to bathe this podcast in a lot of prayer. I've been really excited about this. This probably is, I'm for sure, the most meaningful episode of the web show that has happened in 2 years of doing it. So thank you guys for being a part of that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jake, for what you are doing and for the ministry and the lives that you're changing, all the way even in Japan that you're doing there. And Aki, thank you for the encouragement and the inspiration they do for like aspiring dads and other dads or moms, or just being that family oriented, beyond family friendly, family oriented stream where it just feels like you can be, not in a creepy way, but like you can get into your community and just be your friend. Like it feels like you can know you, and be known. And I feel like that's the same way with you, Jay. Like it's a stream where like, oh, this guy is so incredibly just genuine, like just straight off the gate. So appreciate you guys for that. There's one thing that definitely has to happen though before we end stream, and that is Aki. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Aki and Peach on all the platforms, guys. And now, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak. I've had a great time. But yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Aki and Peach, Twitch.tv. I stream 5 days a week, not as much as Jate, but I stream twice a week with my daughter, Mondays and Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and then Thursdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and then Fridays we start at 5:30 and we go into the evening. It's Sunsets with Aki and Peach. We have a good time. So yeah.
Awesome.
And now that we're coming into summer, Peach is going to be out of school, so we might go a little bit later on Mondays and Tuesdays. We'll see.
Those of you that are watching live right now on Twitch, his link is popping up right now. Y'all go check him out, show him some love. Jate, my man, you're probably live right now at the time that we're watching this or listening to this. In 3 years, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Jate's live. Go hang out with him. He's live right now. He's always live.
100%. Always live.
Oh boy.
Where can we find you, man?
Jate Live on Twitch, or Love Clan. You can look that up. Loveclan.net as what it currently is, and that's mostly it. Yep.
Cool.
It's on Twitter and other places too, but yeah, Jate Live probably.
Guys, anybody that's watching live right now, also you can find his link popping up in the chat as we speak as well. If you are listening back later on YouTube or Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening, you can actually find the link to both of these awesome guys in the description of wherever you're listening. So definitely go show them some love and give them some encouragement and everything. Appreciate them for what they're doing. I guess that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thank you again so much for coming on the show. It was awesome.
Anytime. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys and this friendship that I feel like has begun and is developing. And I'm looking forward to even maybe better, more opportunity, guys. All right. Well, if that is all, then guys, remember, keep that pumpkin positivity, and this can, in fact, I believe, be your year. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys for listening. Catch you next time. See ya.